start with fucking how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm blessed, black, and highly favored. So what else can I ask for? I think people are getting exposed. So you're seeing people's true colors. You're seeing the fake influencers suddenly caring about black folks. You're seeing the black influencers suddenly feeling like they're black again. And I'm not trying to judge because I'm not one to tell people how they should be active. But I think it's really interesting that a lot of people are just using the traditional context marketing strategy. Is it contextually relevant for me to post? And I told this recently to an influencer slash person that's on social media. I say, fuck your feed, man. Pull up, not in your stories, pull up on your feed too. Fuck your feed. So to me, yeah, it's opening eyes, but I would call it more like exposing people on their true values, true natures. But for those of you who don't know what urban removal is, it is fucking disgusting. It's you take any city in North America with a population above 1.2 million inhabitants, and in the 1960s, 65, the United States of America, which is the big brother racist of Canada, which is the little brother. So one is racism, the other one is COVID, or whatever you want to see it. They passed a law called urban removal where they would uh, expropriate. I don't know how to say that in English, right? So you kick out people, you forcefully kick them outside of their home. And the way they found how to do this in West End was to move them out by driving a highway. And that was a practice that was common, and it was called urban removal. So under the pretense of accessibility to highways and mobility from suburbs to downtown areas, they picked black-owned neighborhoods and they ran highways through them. One thing that I'm most I got a lot of flack for in the news, but I'm very proud of is I put a lot of black people into homes by any means necessary. So y'all could look this up. I don't give a shit. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Made a lot of black folks become owners in neighborhoods that are important to me. Today, these neighborhoods are not for us, by us. Properties that would go for 200,000 when I bought are going now for $1.2 million. So that's the gentrification is a micro form of colonization. It is looking at what somebody else has inherently or magically or worked for and saying, I want those resources. So gentrification became part of who I was because it was my way to do activism. I figured I'm a real estate guy, I'm an entrepreneur. Why would I just be an activist just to be an activist? Why wouldn't I be an economic activist? So that's what I've been doing for the past 10, 15 years, been economically empowering black and brown folks, focusing specifically on people of African descent, might I say. So Arabic, if you're from that Maghreb, I fuck with you. If you're from the continent, that's what's up. So for me, that's my form of activism, but now it's taken a different form because I'm surprised how much people don't know about us. So black folks are forcefully enslaved, come to America, 1619, first slavery plantations, were considered wealth, right? So we're traded, we're raped, we're refinanced. People don't know that. They used to refinance us like if we were homes, sold evidently, bought. So you are wealth. You are physical wealth from 1619 to 1865. And then from 1865 to 1965, you're not wealth anymore, but you can't acquire it. So you're prevented from acquiring wealth. And that plays with your fucking mind because you go from being a piece of property to saying, okay, you're not a property anymore, but now we're going to sharecrop you. So I'm going to force you to stay on this land because your grandfather and grandfather used to work that land, and I'll lease it to you. And then I'll lease it to you so high that you can never get out of poverty. And then eventually I'll screw you and screw your kids because they don't know their rights. So they would sharecrop, which was kind of an economic enslavement. And then they had literally from 1865 to 1965, Jim Crow. Black people piss left, white people piss right. Get in the back of the bus or shut the fuck up. So you go from not being to being wealth, not being able to acquire wealth, to only being able to acquire real wealth since 1965. So that to me is important to pass down to my kids and anybody else that cares to listen, at the risk of sounding redundant, at the risk of sounding like somebody that's preaching, at the risk of sounding like somebody that wants black and brown folks to do better because you know better. Because if you don't know better, you can't do better. But if I tell you, you can't claim ignorance. Now, urban removal is that last straw. Urban removal is displacement, forcefully displacing black and brown people in North America. So just when we get out of slavery through civil rights movement, they still find a way to pull us right back in. They displace us. They take away our homes, knowing that we don't have financial literacy, not in the 60s. And then they run these highways by allowing veterans that had bought in Brassard, that had bought in Laval, that had bought in Long Island. They got to get back inside the city. They got to work. So they drove highways straight into Blake. This is facts. It's not conspiracy. This is history. To me, it's super important that we hold our elected official accountable. You say you love black people? Show us. Don't tell us. Don't go on camera talking about, I'm going to do my Suge Knight voice now. You like all them Haitian people? Don't go on there speaking to me all in Creole in the videos. Show me. Show me. Show me. Canada has been beating up indigenous and black people for centuries. We are no better than the USA of America. We claim to be because we're covertly racist. But if they're overtly racist, at least, the way I see it, they're honest. They're straight up. So to me, somebody that's racist is somebody that is sick. And just like COVID to me, I'd like to know if you have COVID, because then I could practice social distancing. I could social distance my dollar. I could social distance my mental health. I could physically social distance from your racism. I could spiritually social distance from you. But the covert racists, those bigots, those crackers, those are the real dangerous ones. Because just like COVID, they don't tell you they got COVID. They hang out with you. They put their mask down. They make you think it's safe to not social distance. Those are the worst. And that's what we got in Canada. We got undercover COVID diseased, infected people. You got a prime minister of Quebec that dares to say that there is no systematic racism. And I'll put language barrier. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he keeps saying there is no system of racism in Quebec. He seems to think that there's a system called racism that looks to oppress black and brown people. That's how intellectually dishonest or completely stupid he is. And I'll blame it on language barrier. He doesn't understand that there is institutionalized racism through banking, through incarceration system, through housing system, through school system, through the school taxes, which messes up our schools, which literally gives a roadmap and a pathway, which there's a term for this, right? School to jail. Like a fast track from school to jail. That's how they coined it that. He doesn't understand that. To him, it doesn't exist. You want to see real gangsters? Oh boy, type FLQ, bro. FLQ did not play. FLQ was, you want to antagonize us? You want to push us in a corner? You want to tell us to speak white? We're going to bomb y'all. FLQ is known as a terrorist organization. And they have the audacity to call Black Panther terrorists? Bombing people in Quebec. Bombing, shooting, kidnapping, hijacking banks. That's his generation. François Legault. He knows. His father was most likely I'm not saying his father was part of it, but I guarantee you one thing. In the 50s and 60s, if you were a Francophone white, the same way if you were black, you loved the Black Panthers. You loved the Nation of Islam. You know why? Because they stood up to oppression and they said no more. Last I checked, black folks in Quebec, we never bombed nobody. We never formed black oppressed movement, and we should have. I got brothers in LaSalle, brothers in West End, brothers Montreal North, Saint Michel, RDP. We would have loved to put together some form of organization and fight these pigs called Eclipse. Clap back at them. But we didn't. You guys did. FLQ did. And you had the audacity to have a white intellectual francophone man called Pierre Valliere called a best-selling book. White Negroes of America. So you knew, at least your intellectuals knew, that being oppressed means being black. Because you called yourself white Negroes. So go fuck yourself.